Welcome to Bet On It Monday Night Football Edition. I am Kelly Stewart, and you guys are in for a real treat tonight because we've got a doubleheader on Monday night and two postponed games for Tuesday to go over. So I'm not going to ask how the weekend went. I'm going to let the producer throw up the graphic, and you can see for yourself. 2-0 on best bets for myself makes me at 19-11. VR just cruising right along. Cash and tickets 54-42. Marco still crushing on the season. That one weird tie just throws me off every single time. 56-44 and a push. Brings the show to 129, 97, and 1. If you are not following this show, I don't know what to tell you. Let's bring in the guys, Marco and VR. It is $9 Monday, so Marco is powering through for us. He's not feeling so hot, but he is here for you guys. So, Marco, what do you have up on $9 Monday?
Well, first off, Kelly, full disclaimer, if anybody catches COVID watching this episode, I am not to blame. I am contagious. I am in quarantine right now. I did test positive last night, but we got to power through. We got football. What can you do? I can guarantee you 2 minutes after the show's over, I'm going to be in my Steeler pajamas and my Steeler blankie in the fetal position. But that's another story. I got a 5% up, Kelly, $9 Monday. We've off a great weekend. I don't know. The COVID antibodies must be good for my handicapping because my football went 8-2 over the weekend. So small price to pay, I guess. But I do have a 5% later in the week. It's up now for $9. It'll be $35 after midnight. I do have a package up for Monday Night Football, but don't buy it, people, because we're going to discuss all the plays I have in a moment for the $9. So I'll feel like Santa Claus a little early this week.
Marco Claus coming in early for you guys. VR, I get this question all the time. How come VR never has anything up on $9 Monday?
Anything I have up until this time, I give it to them on the show. So all you got to do is watch this for 5 minutes and you're going to save yourself the money, to be honest with you. And it's twofold. I don't do a lot of daily packages, Kelly, not knocking any cappers that do, because there's a huge market for it. And you got to give what the market demands. You know what I mean? Someone has to provide what every market demands. I'm not aiming towards those type of bettors. Because I did in my past, the guys that want to win tonight, the guys that are looking for that big game, it's just not me. I try to steer towards those guys that know I can't win for them every day, every bet, every week, not even every month. But I'm one of the few and how many that actually turn a profit long term. I don't want to keep repeating that shit, but it's the truth. And year after year, I keep doing the same thing. And it's the people that want to do that. Those guys tend to buy monthly, tend to buy seasonal, tend to buy yearly because it's a lot cheaper. Because again, if your overhead's high, you have to be able to turn a major profit for it to be profitable as far as paying for information. Like I say, I pay couple $1,000s a month for financial information, but it's worth it to me. I've been able to cut off the fat, the ones that weren't worth it to me, because there's a lot of, you find out, just like in this industry, there's a lot of great marketing, and sometimes it's just not a lot of substance behind that marketing. Anyway, make a long story short. So yeah, I don't have anything for $9 Monday. I'm going to share some gold with you. I release 2 subscribers later, but real quickly before we get into this game, because I tell you when I win, I tell you when I lose. And since we brag about winning, I got to tell you, I also lost this last week, even though I won here on the show. I think I hit 2 out of 3 bets. And I hit my biggest bets for even my subscribers in the bowl game and in NFL. But overall, I had a losing last 7 days. And that's the bottom line. So the good thing is going into this week with 10 days left in December, I'm number 2 as far as profit for 2021. It hasn't been my best year, but again, being in the top 3 could be worse. And looking forward to 2022, baby. I got big things. Like I said, real selective, and a lot of things are going to change. So I'm excited.
I'd like to touch on one thing before we get into the Monday Night Football game, and that is exactly what VR said. Look, I got called, I think it was full of myself this weekend because of my tweet regarding laying 9 with Green Bay and saying that, hey, look, you're simply too late to the party. Our goal here on Bet On It, if you watch, scroll to the end if you just want the pick. Seriously, give us a like, scroll to the end. If you don't want to learn handicapping skills, these guys have taught me so much over the last decade. It's not even funny. And I just want to share that with other people because you guys are going to lose. Point blank, period, the end. 99% of bettors are going to lose. I just want to be able to help people lose less. I'm going to lose. I'm going to win. And it's going to be a roller coaster ride, as you've seen all season long. I'm having one of the best seasons that I've had in a really long time. And that is because I finally started listening to all of the things that I've been taught. That is discipline with money management. That is staying off bad games. And that is not placing bad bets. So on that note, on to Monday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings, 6.5-point favorites at the Chicago Bears, total 45.5. Marco, I'm going to go to you first. Kirk Cousins in prime time sure gets a lot of flack, but in reality, he's been a little bit better this year. Kirk is not to blame for some of these Vikings woes, but is 6.5 just a little too much to be laying on the road here?
Well, Kelly, the knee-jerk reaction, I think, from a lot of bettors are going to be to look at the Monday night home dog. And that's, obviously Chicago. We know Kirk Cousins' shortcomings in these primetime games. But you know what? Last game they played, that was a Thursday night game. That was one of my biggest plays of the year. And I was on Minnesota against my Steelers. And it wasn't his fault. He had a good game. And they got the job done. I think he gets the job done again tonight. And I'm looking more to go against Chicago than I actually am going with Minnesota. We know this Minnesota offense is good. It's been good all year. The problem's been the defense. And I know a lot of people are going to look and they're going to say, hey, Chicago, last week, did you see that game against Green Bay? Yeah, I saw it. They went for 3 quarters toe-to-toe with Green Bay. They went up and down the field. They scored 30 points against the Packers. So right away, everybody's salivating to jump on the bandwagon with Chicago and Justin Fields. I'm not buying it. It was a bad spot for Green Bay. They were coming off their bye week. They were rolling. We've talked about it so many times. You go into the bye week on a roll. That's a momentum breaker. The game that they went into the bye week off of was that big win against the Rams. So, yeah, Green Bay was feeling fat and sassy. I know it was a division game. I know it was a Sunday night football game. But Green Bay, I felt, took them for granted. Minnesota's not. Minnesota has a chance to get back to 500 tonight, and I just don't think Chicago's going to be able to trade points with them. Now, with that said, do I want to lay the 6.5? No. But which way do I want to go with this game? Well, there's a couple ways you can go. You can use a teaser because it's sitting at 6.5, get it down to a half, or you can go to a money line parlay. It all depends on who you're going to hook it with, which is the better EV play. For me, I'm doing both. I'm doing a money line parlay on one of my wagers, and I'm doing a teaser on another. The teaser I'm going to use is Minnesota down to a half, and I'm going to tease Cleveland. We'll talk about that game in a moment. Cleveland up, because we're going through all the key numbers in a low total. Yes, I know there's COVID issues. I know Nick Mullins is going to be quarterbacking, but they've had 2 extra days. They pushed it back, which in my opinion is a big break for Cleveland. And we saw what happened yesterday with the overreaction with Green Bay and that line going to 9.5. The dog found a way to get there. So for this one, it's a teaser. Now, for the money line parlay and how you determine which one is a better value is you put the money line parlay together, put the odds and see what the payoff is. A traditional teaser, most people are going to find minus 120. But actually here in Vegas, the average is minus 125 on a teaser. So if you take that 125 here in Vegas and put the money line together, if you're getting back the same amount of money for the risk, but you're gaining points in the process, and what points are we gaining? Well, we're gaining 1 point on the Rams, who we're going to money line parlay with. If we teased them, we would have Rams -1. And I know Kelly knows games never fall on 1 with her buddy John Murray. So we gain the point there, and we only gain a half a point on Minnesota. The only way that comes into play is if the game ends in a tie. We have had a tie this football season. Kelly knows about that one too, unfortunately. So when you do the money line parlay, you're coming out to basically the same money, and it makes it the way to go. So I gave my clients tonight Minnesota Rams money line parlay. I gave them Minnesota and Cleveland on a 2-team teaser. Those two games for me tonight, Kelly.
Thank you, Marco. VR, in regards to the total here, this one's really interesting. I feel like if Minnesota's the side, I like the over. If the Bears are the side, I kind of like the under. I don't think I'm going to be getting to the window with either one of these teams. You've got the Vikings fighting for their playoff lives. What are the Bears left fighting for here? That makes it kind of hard to quantify. Your thoughts on Monday Night Football?
Listen, I'm here to help the bettors win and to share any solid information I have. And I don't want to waste anyone's time. I did not get to the window with this game unless one of the groups I work with comes in with a solid play. I won't get to the window with this game. Here's why. I like the Minnesota side, but I missed the boat. So the only bet I could possibly make right now is Minnesota on the money line. I will not tease them because I'm not going to lay minus 125, minus 130, knowing it's not giving me plus EV. Even if it wins, I'm just not going to place a bad bet, not to disagree with Marco, because if that bet wins, he's going to be happy, his client's going to be happy, and they did their job. That's what you're supposed to do, cash tickets. But I just can't get to the window and place a bet that I know I'm not doing the right thing, that the right thing to do is bet it on the money line, like he said. And I know it may be difficult for you to take out 270 to win 100 out of your pocket, but that's the right move. If you're not willing to do it, then don't bet the game and find another game. It's like, sure, 35-1 when you hit a roulette number is great. It sounds great when you hit it until they tell you that there's 38, 39, or 40 numbers on that wheel. So great, someone's going to hit that number, but it doesn't make it a good bet. And that's all I'm trying to stress. And we have limited stuff to choose from, so Marco's hands are tied. Of course, he's going to give you the bets that he thinks have the highest probability of cashing, and that is Minnesota down to win this game. But I just think we need to stress to bettors who are getting into the space to do the right things, because there's too much content out there urging bettors to do the wrong thing without explaining behind it that, yes, this is a negative EV play, but I'm doing it. This is why I'm doing it. Instead, they're arguing that CLV doesn't exist when Pinnacle, which is the sharpest book on the planet, is telling you that's how we determine who's a threat to us. Like, you have people arguing that in 2021. So when I'm telling you, that's the only reason I can't urge a teaser on Minnesota unless it gets through that 7. Get the 7.5. And I'm going to be tying so many teasers because I like the Minnesota side, Kelly. But I just can't get there where this number is right now. But the problem with Chicago is this. Their left tackle and their right tackle are out on the offensive line. That's a lot of problems. On the defensive side, all 4 starters in the secondary are out. Their backups, a handful of those, are injured. So not 100% or out. This team's really limping into this game. So, again, betting Chicago, you're looking for a lot of good luck and that this line just got knocked out of whack. Maybe because it has moved significantly, but I just don't think there's much value here. I lean over, and like I said, get the 7.5 so I could step up and fire on Minnesota. Otherwise, I say bet Minnesota money line and take some water, swallow all that chalk, or move on to the next game. That's what I'm doing. I moved on to the next game. I don't have a ticket in this one.
All right, let's move on to the first game. We did go over the Monday Night Football game because that was how it was originally scheduled. The rescheduled game, the Las Vegas Raiders at the Cleveland Browns. This one has gone absolutely bonkers all week long. Obviously, it was supposed to be played yesterday. Baker Mayfield, NFL Players Association got the push to move it to Monday. Baker's still not a go. Current line looks to be 3 at most places. There are some rogue 2.5s at some of the sharper shops in Las Vegas and offshore. Total 41.5. There are some 41s out there and even one rogue 42. Marco, I don't have a big opinion here. A lot of people know that I like to play these stale lines in regards to some of the contests that I'm in. So I do have the 5.5 with the Las Vegas Raiders, which is a great number. Thinking about coming back on the other side with the 3 with the Browns, maybe getting a little greedy, if you will, and try to hit that middle.
Yeah, Kelly, we didn't speak about middles from Saturday night. I had one that I had Indianapolis money line and I had New England on the teaser, and I thought we were gold there with that middle. But this is a spot, Kelly, that I just think that it's an overreaction. I don't think the Raiders, in the current state that they are, that they should be favored on the road against too many teams in the NFL, even a depleted Cleveland team. Now, this game was actually originally Saturday, Kelly, so they've gotten the benefit of 2 extra days. That's huge for Nick Mullins to get him, acclimated with what they're going to run. It's going to be a simple game plan. They're not going to do anything out of the ordinary, but you know what? They got a good running game. So that's great when you're going to have a simplified offense if you have a strong running game. I don't see Cleveland getting blown out by the Raiders in this game. And with that said, the only way I can play this game is using teasers. Now, when I made the play, it was 2.5. So that was a Wong teaser scenario at plus 8.5. And given the low total, points are going to be at a premium in this game. I went with Cleveland. That's the only way I can play it. The Raiders, this team's a total wreck. I'm sorry. The season is unraveled for them. I know they technically are still alive, but I just can't back this team. They don't stretch the field anymore, since Ruggs is gone. And Derek Carr, he's trying everything he can, but he can't do it himself when he doesn't have playmakers to throw to.
Marco, I'm with you here. I think that I have no choice but to play the Browns +3. VR, your thoughts on the first Monday night game?
This is the only game I have action on, that I have tickets on. I have the Raiders at +3.5 as a 3% play, so not a best bet. And I have the over as well. And the over, they bet it also today at 40.5 and 41. That's why you're seeing it go over. That's sharp on the over. So I have action on this game. With all that said, I'm going to come back and take Cleveland, though, at +3, Kelly. And even though I know that they're expecting an over, because I trust the wise guys more than the book, and even though it's a low total, they're expecting it to go over. So we make it go over and still be a low-scoring game. 43, 45 points goes over, and it's still a relatively low-scoring NFL game. So, that's the problem. You could have both things in this one because it's a low total. But with all that said, I just think that the line's now been adjusted to where the value's gone. We always say the spread's the great equalizer. We knew the Raiders were underdogs of 3.5 or more points. That was a good bet. Now that's no longer the case. They're favored, and the reason for that's simple. Mayfield out, Landry out, Hunt out, Keenum out, Schwartz out. Oh, questionable, sorry. Hooper out, Willis Jr. out, Hudson out. That's just the offense. Defense, Jackson out, McDowell out, Clowney out, Harrison Jr. out, Newsome the third out. Do you want to know the backups? 4 of the 8 backups in second string and 3 of the 10 backups third string are out also. And then, let's not forget, on special teams, the punter, who's also the placeholder, is out as well. So it's very hard to argue betting Cleveland with all those players out, because I can't quantify what all those are worth and tell you exactly which side to bet now. That's why I'm saying I'm getting off my Raiders bet, even though at +3.5, it's a great bet. But I think Cleveland at +3 is probably a decent bet as well, because again, the market is now telling you, we don't care. We moved it. Now you figure it out, and you see where it's sitting at since that case. Around 3 or 2.5. It depends what books are getting what action. So for me, I just think they got to the right number now. And if there's no value there, again, you're just hoping to be the product of good luck. So yeah, I'm on the over as a legit play. I have Vegas at +3.5, but my subscribers, don't be surprised if you get Cleveland at +3 and we try to middle it. I might let it go if I feel stronger on that 3.5 and just say let it ride. Otherwise, I'm going to come back and try to middle it with you, Kelly.
VR, I'm looking at it right now, and I actually think it's going to start headed back towards 2.5. So better get some 3s while they're still available. Now, let's move on to Tuesday night. We've got a pair of games that were also rescheduled from Sunday. We've got the Seattle Seahawks at the Rams. Let's see. Current line. Ooh, we're starting to see sevens pop up on the WagerTalk odds screen. Total 45.5 and one rogue 46. Marco, I'm going to go to you first here. Look, this is a Seattle team that I said wasn't going to make the playoffs. And so it looks like I'm going to get a cash that bet. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to play really hard against a team that everybody already tried to give the Lombardi trophy to just a few weeks ago. As far as divisional rivalries go, this one is a big one. Your thoughts on Tuesday night?
Well, Kelly, that's the reason why I'm not going to get involved in this game on the game with the spread the way it is. I'm going to look for alternative ways to bet the game. At 7, I'm looking at money line parlay and I'm looking at teaser. Just like I said with Minnesota, depends which way I'm hooking it up. I do have a teaser going with Cleveland and the Rams as well. So I take the Rams down to 1 and I take the Cleveland side up to the 8.5. To me, I thought that was still plus EV money. And I just don't see Seattle going in there and winning. Do I see them making it a game? Russell Wilson, anytime he's on the field, he can always, will a team to, staying in the game till the end. But I really think the last 2 weeks, and if you remember last week, I was as high as I've been on a Monday night game with the Rams against Arizona. I said, everybody's going to say, hey, let's not overreact. They only beat Jacksonville. Well, now they got to face Arizona. And as I said then, sometimes, just like in horse racing, you just need to drop down in class and get that confidence building win, and then it rights the ship. Well, I'll tell you what, the Rams were clicking on all cylinders Monday night offensively, and now they're going to face a defense that's worse than the one they saw last week. Seattle has trouble stopping anybody, and I just don't think that Russell Wilson and that Seattle offense is going to be able to trade points with Matthew Stafford and company. They were clicking last week. Now, if Matthew Stafford somehow reverts back to what he did about a month ago for that 3-week stretch, then that's a whole different story. But he's got his confidence and is coming off one of his strongest games of the year. I'm going to ride the Rams and use them in alternative wagers, and that would be teasers and money line parlays.
VR, anything that has come across your desk in regards to this game? This one's been bet up all the way from 4.5 now to 7. At some point in time, I got to start looking at the Seattle side. But if it does hit 7.5, I think the Rams are worth the teaser play. Unfortunately, I do not think it's going to get there.
I agree, Kelly, with everything you just said, one point after the other. And I'll add this. There's some guys I have a ton of respect for that win, that do tease sevens in the NFL, especially what they call strong sevens, like where you see a 7 that's a minus 115 at some of the sharper books, or even a minus 120 at sharper books, especially those guys that have outs that they lay minus 120. See, you got to remember that's the key, because as you increase that VIG, that's where that winning percentage also needs to increase. That's where the difference between lane minus 120 and lane minus 130 comes in. Like if you're lane minus 130, or guys lane minus 140, I mean, even with, you got to wong it. And even then, you're at break even or a hair of an edge if you have that. Every other, you're probably negative EV in most cases. That's where you got to remember there's a lot of nuance to it. So I think the Rams may fall into that teaser spot. Otherwise, they're a good money line hookup. I don't really like parlaying money lines. I know it's a lot of, even sharp guys do it these days. I just don't see any correlation. I don't think that the Rams Seattle outcome has anything to do with the outcome of Washington Philly. So why would I ever tie those two outcomes together? I get it for the higher payoff, but to receive that higher payoff, both have to win. And if neither has another is dependent on the other outcome, then it just, to me, again, it just don't make much sense. And it's just a cheaper way of going around betting money lines. We're trying to get to the window and place a bet, but not take a lot of money out of our pocket. And books know that. And remember, they know casual bettors like to put up a little money to win a lot and not put up a lot to win a little. and they use that bias against you. We see it all the time. We see it every year when Super Bowl props come out. They know that casual bettors want to bet the yeses. They want to bet the plus 300s, the plus 400s. They don't want to lay 800. There's no overtime. They don't want to lay minus 1,000 that no extra point gets missed, back before it was brought out to the 35-yard line, that kind of stuff. Anyway, not to go long. So that's why you got to remember, with the teaser and all that, there's a lot of nuance. With this game, I just think the Rams are so much better team. It reminds me of my best bet with San Francisco, where on paper, you just can't argue it. Here's what I got. Los Angeles, offense, 8th rushing success rate, 2nd in passing success rate. I look at the Seattle defense, they're 24th in rushing success rate defensively, 32nd in passing success rate defensively. If the Rams can't run and throw against this Seattle team, they can't do it against anyone. So I find a lot of trouble fading the Rams in this spot. That's why I'm hoping, Kelly, it gets to that 7.5 so I can tease it. Otherwise, I may, for myself, bet it on the money line because, again, on paper, I just think they're that much better. And even though we know in the NFL, pick the winner and you're going to cash the ticket 8 out of 10 times. So I shouldn't be afraid to lay the 7 either. So we'll see if I get to the window between today and tomorrow. But that's what I like. I like the Rams. I like the under. But so you manage your risk like I manage mine. I have no risk on this game. $0 in play so far for me or my subscribers. Like I said, only on the Raiders-Cleveland game do I have any dog in the fight so far. I'll tweet it out if I remember, like I did with Sunday Night Football yesterday.
Perfect. Before we get to the last game on Tuesday night, can you give all of our listeners some of that gold? Mainly me.
Let me give you some best bet. College basketball, here's what we bet today. The 2 that I didn't jump on, line moved, 859, UL Monroe. They betted it minus 2.5 and minus 3. It went to like 5 by the time I started really working I'm honest. So I'm not going to piggyback that later or give it to my subscribers. And they also bet Denver 872, I think it is, plus 9. I just didn't really like that game. So I didn't use it, but I did like this one, 861 under UMKC, South Dakota State. We bet under 144 and under 143. I gave that out as a 4% best bet. And then in the NHL, we bet small play on Dallas. I didn't piggyback that or give it to subscribers because I have a small risk with the accounts, but we bet that same game under 5.5, minus 105. I gave that out as a 4% best bet in that same game. So the under is the best bet. And then college football, here's a bowl game for tomorrow. I gave out to subscribers 221 Wyoming minus 3. 3%, so not a best bet category, but gave them out at minus 3. And I also gave out, I got it out ahead. This may be the steam play for this weekend. Remember, I gave one out last week. I don't think it got there. Hopefully this week it's a little bit better. That's 465 Cincinnati, Baltimore. We went over 44 and 44.5. That's why you're looking at 45s and probably higher by now in that Cincy, Baltimore. So that one I gave out as a 4% as well. So there you go with 3 best bets and 3% play as well for you. A little bit of gold sprinkled on top.
Thank you, VR. Even though you don't have a $9 Monday up, we get a little bit more than that $9 Monday. But Marco does have one up for this weekend. So make sure you guys head over to WagerTalk. Before we let you go, we'll talk about the last Tuesday night game. Washington football team at the Philadelphia Eagles. Total 42.5. The Eagles, this line has bounced all over the place. It opened 4.5. I saw it get as high as 9. Kind of the dust is settling here at 6.5. Doesn't look like Tyler Heineke is going to be playing. Looks like it will be Kyle Allen because it kind of didn't get an answer on that earlier definitively, but that is what it appears to be. Those 4 defensive linemen that were supposed to be out on Sunday will be back for this one. Marco, your thoughts on this Washington football team and who the hell are the Eagles to be laying almost a touchdown in a divisional game?
Well, Kelly, you stole my opening line because that's exactly what I was going to say. And I was going to add one statement to that. Not only who are the Eagles to be laying this kind of number, what nobody's talking about is how about the pressure that's on Jalen Hurts this week? Gardner Minshew had a hell of a game, and led Philadelphia to a victory last time out. Now you got Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts, quarterback controversy in Philadelphia. There's pressure on him. He hasn't performed that well and consistent all year. He could be hearing footsteps, and that's not what you want with a gun-shy quarterback, hearing footsteps, laying a big number. What I'm setting at is I'm waiting to see where the dust settles and who is actually going to be on the field. It's really kind of hard to make a wager not knowing who your quarterback is yet in the game. And that's the problem with Washington. The 2 extra days is going to give them every chance in the book to get there and get, one of the quarterbacks that they want so that they don't have to go to Garrett Gilbert. That's a last resort. But I need more information for tomorrow. But I can tell you, I don't see any scenario that has me on Philly. It's either going to have me on Washington or I'm going to pass the game tomorrow. That's where I'm at, but I'm going to wait for an update tomorrow to get more information closer to game time.
I do have my WagerTalk odds screen open. I am curious to see, VR, do you think this one heads closer to 6 or does it go back up to 7? Because again, I'm kind of just waiting here. I want to wait till a little bit more of the dust settles. We get a little bit more answers on who will be in the starting lineup for the football team. But again, if anything, it's going to be a play against the Eagles for me.
Before I go real quick, because I'm actually going to bet this game and I'm going to give actionable information, but I'll only do that, Kel, if you let me know if they're smashing that like button. Because like last night, and I don't mean to be petty, but I gave out a 4% best bets. And yeah, I could say I got 100 likes after it won, of course. I had to sweep the board and hit the first half game play as well, just to get to that. And then I see others in our space, some very attractive people in our space that toss out they like iced tea or something and get 300 engagements or wow when someone sacks the quarterback and everyone can't wait to tell them how. So anyway, are they hitting that like so I could tell them what to do on Tuesday, Kel, or not?
VR, these live shows are a little bit harder because
I'll give it to them. I'll give it to them. Here's what
guys are
I'm
at work.
to do.
It's 12:30 on the West Coast, 3:30 on the East Coast. But please, you guys, like VR says, please smash that like button. We're doing all of this for free. Well, I'm not, but Marco is up, off of his deathbed just for you guys. We deserve some likes today.
Yeah, share. Here's why. I'm hoping it gets announced that Garrett Gilbert is starting and people look in and they're like, oh, wow, he's that 6th round pick from SMU who's only got 44 pro passes. And this line gets even higher because I like Washington. Because if you're ever going to start a quarterback that's only got 44 pass attempts in the NFL, you probably want to do it against a defense that's 31st against the pass and success rate. That's the Eagles. So you're not going up against the wall of defense when it comes to passing. Like if any spot you want to put this kid in, this is probably going to be it. So I'm hoping the market overreacts and he's actually starting for Washington. Because Washington, they just have to run the football successfully, which they could do, sitting at 6th in the NFL, rushing the football successfully, against the 16th defense in the Philadelphia Eagles against the rush. That's going to make the pass even easier against a weak Eagles pass D. If that's not enough to keep the dog alive from start to finish, nothing is in a divisional game like that. To me, I think the points are obvious a bet to make and even sprinkle that money line because this is exactly the kind of game the Eagles look like they can't lose, which they'll absolutely end up losing come Tuesday night. So yeah, I like Washington. I like Washington on the money line. And do I have anything on the total? No, I didn't have anything on the total there. I haven't got to the window yet. I haven't given it to subscribers or anything because it's 6.5. And I'm hoping it gets to 7 or, like I said, even higher. But I bet it at 6. I really would. I think the adjustments they made already aren't warranted based on the matchup. It just doesn't. It's not. You have to look at, like I said, who the drop off is from number 1 to number 2, first of all, and even to number 3. But then what's the opposition? Are they going against that week the best pass D or not? And definitely not this week. So if you ever want to toss in a quarterback who hasn't proven himself, this is probably the week you want to do it.
Love to hear it. VR agrees. Marco agrees. And our producer, Dan, does not agree. He just mentioned in my ear that he's not going to be at the game, which is good news for Eagles fans because apparently he loves to mush his own team. Thank you guys for hanging out with us each and every Monday. WagerTalk.com, $9 Monday. Head over there. Get any pack or any play that's up right now for just $9, normally priced at $35 or more. We'll see you guys on Wednesday, right? We got Ralph coming in hot with some more TNA. He has been absolutely crushing the Bulls. Make sure you guys are following him at Cal Sports LV. Marco at Marco in Vegas. Greek_gambler for VR. And of course, Kelly in Vegas for myself. Thank you again. Smash that like button. Give us some love. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. Until then, let's bet on it.
Now you can enjoy the happiness of the holidays for the next 6 months by paying less and making more money by getting 180 days of picks from your favorite handicapper at a huge discount. This limited time Christmas special gives you a 90-day all-access pass with a handicapper of your choice at WagerTalk.com, plus an additional 90 days of all-access passes at no additional cost, an $849 value. This comes out to just under $5 per day, includes all sports released and any 5% best bets, normally priced at $35 each. Your access with your handicapper will cover NFL through the Super Bowl, college football through the national championship, any NBA and NHL action, including playoff games played during access and the start of the MLB season. Plus, if your handicapper does UFC, soccer, tennis, or any sport, yep, it's included. Happy holidays from everyone at WagerTalk.